Dude, I cannot handle secondhand cringe. Ugh. Hey, it's Mary. Ignore the mess on my bed. I'm currently preparing for a week-long trip. I'm leaving on Saturday, so I figured what better time to start a reading blog. I just finished rereading one of my favorite series ever, Heist Society, and I wanted a new book for the trip, you know? I'm going to essentially be camping all week. I'm driving up to New York to go camping. Crazy idea. The book that I decided to get was What the River Knows. I actually got both of them. I am not expecting to finish this one within this week, so I'll save that maybe for a different reading vlog. If you guys like this one, I've never done a reading vlog. Most of my content on my channel is about writing because that is predominantly what I have crafted my channel around. I identify, I suppose, more as a writer than a reader. I feel like I write more than I read other people's work, but I'm still very much a reader, and I love books, as you can see from my bookshelf. So I figured, even though I don't read as much as a lot of other book talkers or YouTubers who do book content, I definitely don't read nearly as much as some of them. I saw one girl say that she read 4 books in one day, and I don't know if that's true. I feel like that's not possible. But anyway, I don't read that much. I'll be lucky if I get this done in 1 week, let alone 2 weeks. I'm expecting maybe 2 to 3, depending on how into it I get. Oh, there's a little illustration. That's cute. Apparently has been marketed to me as cozy fantasy. And that is my favorite genre. Personally, one of my favorite genres. Love cozy fantasy. Yeah, I'm going to be doing a reading vlog. Stick around. I want to hear your feedback on how I can make this video better. And guess what? You got to finish the video in order to help me out with that. So essentially what this book is about is Egypt. I think it's the daughter of archaeologists, and there is magic because it's fantasy. Bolivian Argentinian Inez Oliveira belongs to the glittering upper society of 19th century Buenos Aires. And as the synopsis says, there is an infuriatingly handsome assistant thwarting her at every turn. Man, if that isn't enticing, I don't know what is. Unfortunately, I got it from Amazon and I dropped it when I opened the box. I accidentally just chucked the entire box. I kid you not. So I tore the cover on this already. Forgive me. Anyway, this intro has been long enough. Let's get into the reading vlog. So I'm reading the prologue on my porch. It's July 4th, so I haven't really read much. I've been celebrating the holiday by swimming, but I thought it was really neat that this book includes hieroglyphics just in the prologue. The fact that it's supposed to be in Inez's handwriting is also pretty neat. Alright, so my goal was to finish the prologue while I was sitting out here on the porch because I have to leave for dinner in 15 minutes. Tomorrow I have a 10-hour car drive, so I figured I probably wouldn't be reading that much until I'm actually in New York on Sunday, and so I wanted to at least get the prologue done, because the longer I put off starting a book, the less likely I am to actually start it. I need a very fast-paced, very exciting opening. It was okay. I feel like it did a decent job of explaining Inez and her situation and her desires. There was one particular line on page 8 that says, "I like my dresses, but do they have to be so delicate?" It's just not on the extreme of either side. There's a bit of complexity to her interests, and I think that is a good way of writing a character, at least in the introduction, that makes readers like them. It just feels, you know, realistic. So I did appreciate that. I liked that they gave a full description of what Inez looks like. I know a lot of people don't like that paragraph of your character's traits where they just kind of list them off. I don't mind that. Yeah, so I finished the prologue. I think the next time I check in with you, I will be in New York. Mountains, upstate, not the city. Alright, Okay, so I am officially over a third of the way through the book, and I have to say, so far, big fan of the book. I really enjoy it. I am excited. Ooh, whoa, careful. I am excited to keep reading it. I do have a bit of a nitpicky complaint, and that is how Hayes is written. So the infuriating assistant that was mentioned in the summary, his name is Whitford Hayes, and he, as is implied, is kind of the love interest. Nothing has happened yet, of course. And because he's the love interest, he is written in a way that is supposed to entice the reader in a very charismatic, confident, almost cocky way. He smirks a lot, he winks a lot, he leans on stuff a lot in a very nonchalant way. All of those things are fine. There was a point in my life as a reader where I would say that that was my book type. I have drifted away from that as I have gotten older and I've branched out a little more, and also there has been an overabundance of it in stories, and I'm just kind of tired of it. I still like it, and I still like the character, and everything I'm about to say, again, is just nitpicking. His behavior and his mannerisms and his expressions are too over the top. They need to be scaled back a little bit, in my opinion. He's too exaggerated. So, like, he smirks a lot, and I'm okay with a smirk, but you don't need to smirk on every single page. That's a bit too much, in my opinion. And it's not that he, as a person, smirks too much. It's that the author feels the need to directly state that this character is smirking. And it's not just the smirking. There are other things that he does that are adjacent to that. I just wish that more would have been left up to the imagination. Like, mention here or there a smirk or however you wish to have him perceived, and then kind of scale back on the direct descriptions pertaining to that so that the reader can imagine how this character that you have already set up to be this kind of cocky rogue, how they think he would react to something. I just feel like it's a little too on the nose, it's a little too exaggerated, and it's getting exhausting constantly reading about how he is smirking. And again, it's just nitpicky. Like, it's not going to make or break the book. I still like the character. I still enjoy reading about him, and I love the other characters. I think the main character is great. I think she's very complex. I think she is written in a very natural way. I think that the author is doing a good job of setting up intrigue as it pertains to a lot of the side characters and whether or not they're going to be good or bad, and creating tension that has weight to it. And so I enjoy it. I do. I just wish that Whitford Hayes was written with a bit more subtlety. I am back from New York now. As you can see, I'm in my bedroom, and I didn't get much reading done in New York as I expected. I was really busy, and I was waking up really early and going to bed late, and then I was doing stuff all day. So whenever I had any downtime, I just wanted to sit and scroll on TikTok or take a nap. I took a lot of naps. I did go cliff jumping one day, and that was fun. Anyway, I'll see you later. Dude, I cannot handle secondhand cringe. Oh, it's so cringy because you just know. I am over halfway now, and I got to this point last night. I got to this page, and I had to put the book down. I was like, oh, yeah, I can't do this right now. I need to go to sleep. I cannot go to bed thinking about how cringe this next scene is about to be. And so I put it down, and I opened my book up now while I was eating lunch to read it, and guess where I'm at? Same freaking spot. How rude is that? So now I have to read through it and put up with it. I used to really be into these like friendship bracelets. Now I have a bunch of them, and they do nothing because I don't wear them. So I use them as bookmarks. That's a little tidbit about me. Carry on, please pray for me. Okay, slight spoilers here. It's still cringy. It bothers me when the character, usually the main character, goes, you can't pretend you don't feel it. You can't ignore what exists between us. And they've known each other for like a week. Like, bro. I sure can ignore it. Yeah, because it's been a week. And you are welcome to disagree with me. To me, that almost always feels very unnatural. So, I don't know. I think that's just me. I'm pretty sure I might be the only person reading this book who feels the way I'm feeling right now. I'm not a big fan of this drawing, personally. I don't like this. Okay, I was being a smidge dramatic earlier. It wasn't that cringy, I suppose. It was still a little cringy. And I still don't like when people use the phrase, what did I say? This thing that exists between us? Yeah, I'm still not a huge fan of that, personally. But I read on a little bit and, I resolved those feelings. I hold no bitterness towards those moments. I just got finished at the gym. I hit some arms, some upper body, and I'm waiting to go to work now, so I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna read in the air conditioning. I had to turn it off so that there was no background noise in this video, and I am perspirating violently. I only have about a quarter of the book left to read. Spoilers, big spoilers, I suppose. They just discovered the tomb, Cleopatra's tomb, and so things are moving, big things are moving, and I think this is going to be a turning point for Whit. He's going to have to decide whether he's going to side with Inez or if he's going to decide to side with her uncle. And I still have some doubts about her uncle, personally. We're supposed to think he's a bad guy, and he has done some things that are very suspicious. He's got anger issues, that's a fact. However, I feel like that's a misnomer. I feel like that's a little too obvious in writing the plan, so to speak, that the characters say they're going to be doing is not the plan that they end up doing. Because it's going to be thwarted some way, somehow, because otherwise it's not interesting. And so we've been told this entire book that Ricardo is bad, that he is evil, doing illegal things. I just feel like that would be a little bit too obvious. So my gut is telling me that there's still more to the story that we don't know. But, yeah. I'm also not the best at predicting endings. I just don't. I like to just read and be in the moment and be like, I like to be surprised. I like surprises. But that is what my gut is telling me. I really wanted to do a cute little montage of me, making coffee before I go sit down to read, be all cutesy and aesthetic. Problem is, I don't drink coffee, and I don't drink tea. So what you're gonna get is me refilling my Stanley cup and putting creatine in it. I have no choice but to finish this book today. And I think I can do that. I think I can manage that. I've only got a little sliver left, as you can see. So I'm going to get cozy with my little cup of creatine and read and hopefully get it finished before I have to leave later today. I think I will. I am a reader. I've been reading for a decade, like a pro. Just kidding, not like a pro. When I was in high school, I was reading 500-page books in 2 days. But at the same time, I was very sad. So I'm not sad anymore. Maybe that has something to do with my inability to read a book in less than a week. Anyway, enough talking. You're getting sick of me talking. Taking a quick break real quick to write something down for my own book that I thought of while reading. That happens quite often. Also, people don't really talk about that when you become a writer, you don't read books the same way. You're now constantly evaluating sentence structures and descriptions and different formats, and you think, oh, I wouldn't have written it that way, or that's really good, I should write like that. Not that it's a bad thing. I was like, what does sit the hell do? Then I realized they just cut off the word down in the middle, so that's my stupidity showing. I'm not very experienced in my double-digit Spanish numbers, but I'm going to assume this is chapter 23. I'm actually shocked at what I just read. I did not think that that would happen. What? I didn't think, okay. Okay. The stakes have just been raised. Okay, I'm sorry, but reading peep sight in the middle of a tense fight scene is jarring. And that is it. I finished it. I have some thoughts, but I am first going to go take my neighbor's dog for a walk. I've been having to walk him every day this week. Today is no different. So I'm going to take him for a walk, mull over my thoughts, and then I will pop back in and I will explain to you what I'm thinking. In conclusion, what would I rate What the River Knows? Drum roll please. A 4 out of 5. I think that that is where I stand on it. As far as the plot goes, loved the plot. I thought that it was very intriguing. I'm a sucker for a good archaeology story, like Indiana Jones type stuff. I love that. I think it's fun. It's like the epitome of adventure and exploration and wonder, which makes for a great backdrop to a fantasy story. Speaking of the fantasy aspect, it was quite minimal. I would not define this as cozy fantasy, which is what it was marketed as to me. It is soft fantasy, which means that the magic is minimal with very loose rules. There's spells and potions, but we don't really get into that very much. We don't see the actual technicalities of it, the details, the things that make it work. We only see the aftermath with like a shoe, a sandal that becomes a flashlight. It's not really explained, which doesn't bother me at all. I think that that's totally fine. An interesting aspect to the magic system in this world is that the more you use a magical item, the less powerful it becomes, or the more it changes. A lot of the archaeological objects that they find have strong magical power because they have not been used and touched by human hands very much, if at all. Interesting, intriguing, original. I like that. It just isn't cozy fantasy. It's soft fantasy, and it's fun. It's a little bit of a mystery too, because you're trying to unearth clues. A lot of people are suspect, nobody's trustworthy, and the main character is trying to find the truth about her parents. And there are twists and turns. There are some things that are predictable and some things that are not predictable, in my opinion. Like I said earlier, I'm not one to sit and try to work out the ending of a book before I get there. I like to be surprised. I like to let the book do what it's supposed to do. The characters are good. I got over those nitpicky feelings I had about Whitford Hayes. He just came on very strong in the beginning, and I understand what the author was trying to do. She was trying to set up this character to be a certain way, to, in the end, subvert that. I just think it was distracting. She could have dialed it back a little bit, and it would have been a little bit more... But I did really like his character. I thought he had a lot of complexities to him. I also think Inez, the main character, had a lot of complexities to her. The side characters were interesting, and I didn't really know what to make of some of them, like Isadora, which I think was the point of her character. It was even stated at one point. Elvira? Is it Elvira or Elvira? I'm gonna say Elvira. She also had some interesting points about her, although to me we didn't see her as much. She felt a little more straightforward. I'm not going to say one-dimensional because I didn't think she was one-dimensional, but she felt more straightforward. We didn't get to delve into her complexities as much in this book. Yeah, overall I would give it a 4. I thought it was enjoyable. I just thought that there were some cringy romantic moments. And you know what? I'm going to be generous and say that that's my fault. That's on me. I am very picky when it comes to romance in books. Like I said, I prefer it as a subplot. I don't really read romance. I'm just very, very picky. And so if it's not done right by my standards, I often think it's cringy or not done well. But I'm aware of that, and I'm not going to put the book down as a whole for that, because that's my personal preference. I think a lot of other people, I think most people who are on Book Talk or in the reading community online would read this and enjoy it without having those thoughts. And so don't let my opinion keep you from reading it or affect your lens, I suppose. I try not to be pretentious, but I can be nitpicky. Apart from that, I really, really enjoyed it. So that's all I have to say by way of no spoilers. So if you don't want the book spoiled for you, please don't watch this next part, or skip to the very end, I suppose. Yeah, so big spoiler, plot twist, Elvira gets murdered. What the heck is up with that? I did not expect that. I was not surprised, A, that her mother came back from the dead. I was not surprised that her mother double-crossed her. I was not surprised that her uncle was not bad. I said earlier that it was suspicious how much they were playing up to be the bad guy, and I just didn't think he was going to turn out to be that suspicious guy. So, not surprised by that. I kind of had a feeling her parents were going to come back from the dead, and although we don't get a definitive answer that her father is alive, there is a little bit of an inkling there to keep you guessing. And her mother is definitively alive, and double-crossed her, and then sacrificed Elvira? That's crazy work. I did not expect that at all. To be fair though, Elvira wasn't in the majority of the book up until they got back to Cairo. I did like how Ibanez, is that how you pronounce the author's last name? She put little clues throughout the story of her aunt's letters. Like the first letter she got, then the second letter she got, and she didn't open them right away. Because we had that background that she wasn't really on great terms with her aunt. She didn't like her aunt. She thought her aunt was like unjustified, irrational, rude, and so she didn't want to open them. So it makes sense why we didn't get the information that Elvira followed Inez to Egypt till the very end. And I liked that. Turns out her cousin is in Egypt following her, which is great because we also had that narrative set up that Elvira kind of follows Inez and does what Inez does. It was mentioned here and there. So none of this came out of the blue. It was very much not expected, but plausible. And that's good. That is how you should foreshadow. Oh yes, the epilogue. What the heck was that about? The epilogue basically cast Whitford Hayes, good old Whitford Hayes, who up until the very end of the book in that epilogue, which was not even a page long, mind you, was made out to be this trustworthy guy who has a bit of a traumatic past and hates his home life and loves Inez, and Inez loves him, and they're all now. Now we're casting him in a shadow. Now we're casting suspicion onto him that he's not all he's cracked up to be. That he double-crossed Inez somehow. What is that about? Interested. I also want to know about this little paper. I think one or both of his siblings are dead. They're the only two people in his family he could trust. I think one or both of them are dead. Because why else would he be avoiding home for so long? The alchemy paper has something to do with maybe reviving them or saving or helping them in some way. All in all, great book. I enjoyed it. Ooh, let me get that out of here. Thank you for watching very much. I hope this video isn't too long. If it is long, I don't blame you for not watching it. I don't know if I would want to watch me for 30 minutes either. Please like and subscribe if you so wish to do that. I don't like begging for followers and likes, but at the end of the day, I am trying to grow my channel. I would also encourage you to check out my other socials. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and I post content over there, writing content, reading content, the whole shebang. Yep, thank you for watching. Remember, my name is Mary, and stay creative.